other civs. So I think both options are viable there.
It does synergize a lot more with Mongols, though, because you're likely to have those scouts on the field anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Mongol mirror matchup. The first map is Lipany, and this is the semifinals of the first Winter Series. We have MarineLorD matching up against B. Now, MarineLorD coming into this a little bit of a favorite after doing and placing well in quite a few Age of Empires 4 events, but B making his way here is quite the accomplishment for him. And of course, he beat one of the favorites for this tournament 2-1, which is GiveUAnxiety, my wonderful co-caster.
Yes, yeah, B looking very impressive so far. And ooh, look at his opening here. He's got the TC right on the wood line, and it's right next to the Uvu. And I'm really curious if he's going to decide to double produce villagers. This is something you don't see very often with Mongols because, number one, your town center would have to be within the influence of the Uvu in order to double produce vills. So there's just, usually that doesn't happen in most games. Here, it can happen here. But the other thing is that it's actually quite expensive to double produce vills. It's so usually when you double produce a unit, say you make an archer costs exactly 80 resources, and if you to get the second archer, it will then cost 80 stone.
Yep.
But with villagers, it's actually 3 times more expensive. So villager costs 50 food, and the second vill costs 150 stone. So it is quite expensive. But at the same time, if you can double produce villagers like at 2 minutes, that's very good to get a very early vill lead.
Yep. 150 stone is quite the expense, though. And it doesn't doesn't generate that much stone from that Uvu, and eventually you're gonna run out there and have to move away to a more vulnerable area of the map. We can see MarineLorD coming forward right away with his scout, ignoring the back of his base, and he's gonna explore the back of B's base and take some of those sheep that are quite near the TC. B doing the same thing though, but MarineLorD with a lot more sheep following his scout than B right now. Actually, maybe only 2 more. I thought he was going to snag that other sheep back there, but I guess not.
Yeah, and so it looks like both players decided to train a scout from their town center, which is always interesting. Obviously, if you train a scout, then you can just get more sheep, but that also means you're training a scout instead of training a villager, so you're essentially losing a villager very early. And here we go. We do have 3DB double producing a villager. I've seen him do it before, so yeah, I was expecting it. Very interesting. Using 150 stone to train the batch of 2 villagers. So he's going to get a pretty early village there.
As an AoE2 guy, when I came into this game and I saw that potential, I just assumed everyone would always be training double villagers. It's just like in your mind, if you get ahead by a vill, you're so far ahead. But in this game, it's a little bit different, right? Villagers gather resources a little bit quicker, so the vill lead isn't as big of a deal, but it still really, really helps your economy that early.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, and actually 3DB, he only has 1 sheep back at home, so he's going to need to drop off some more sheep. He's kind of getting there, but yeah, you're seeing sometimes players take a little bit too long to drop off the extra sheep, so he's got a couple
perfect timing
those there.
Perfect timing, though.
Yeah, yep, very nice.
Shows up right as it expires, the exact second, and he's going to be able to kill those sheep, and he'll be fine. Going for the deer stones, which will provide him with the Yam network, which will make things a little bit faster across his economy and for his military. Deer stones as well for MarineLorD, and he already has a stable here. No scouts queued up yet, though, so just going to wait for the second age.
Yeah, and no pastures from either player, which is interesting. And, oh, here we go. Okay, a pasture is going down for 3DB. And so the pastures generate sheep, and they actually generate sheep even quicker when they're within the influence of an Uvu. So that's a really nice placement, right next to the TC and also within the influence of the Uvu. So that's very nice. And MarineLorD, his Uvu is also quite close to his town center, so he could also go for the same thing if he wanted to.
Do you know how much faster they generate? Is it like a 50% or is it?
It's so regular pastures generate them in 2 minutes, and then a pasture within the influence of the Uvu generates them in 90 seconds.
90 seconds, okay.
So 30 seconds quicker, yeah.
This is going to be annoying for MarineLorD. B is back here with his con on that gold, and that gold is quite exposed at the back there. So MarineLorD's going to have to keep tabs on that villager. He's going to wait and then pull him away at the last second and send some scouts back to deal with that con. B is right on the case, and he's forced a little bit of idle time here. So good opening there from B. Meanwhile, the con from MarineLorD isn't able to find any exposed villagers.
MarineLorD, he did get one of 3B's villas on the gold mine.
Ooh, did he? Oh, so 3B had to go all the way, or sorry, 3DB had to go all the way out to that gold at the very front instead of going for that one at the back, which he's moving to now. Okay, good spot there. I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing with Mongols, right? You start with your town center packed up, and it's always in like kind of strange locations where, you know, other civilizations, their gold mines will be, you know, fairly close to their starting town center. But with Mongols, you can get these instances where
he might get another
gold mines
one. Might get another Vil. Yeah,
Oh,
he used that speed to catch up to it. He used the speed boost from the con, and he's going to snipe this villager. Oh, another villager goes down from V, and he doesn't have access to gold right now. Completely exposed out there.
Yeah, it's really painful. Yeah, you get these weird situations in these Mongol games where, like, the gold mine's just so far from his starting town center. Now he's going to produce some horsemen, and they're still early horsemen, so he will have to upgrade them. And here we go. Looks like MarineLorD is going for professional scouts.
Yep.
And also dropping an outpost on his gold mine.
And he's taking the carcasses closest to B's base. He's just going to wait there with the scouts. How many scouts do we have? Oh, we've got 7 in that group alone. Very, very impressive. Actually, that's 9 in this group. Wow.
Yeah, that is a lot. And that's going to make picking up the hunts, you know, just so convenient, so easy. And yeah, I'm really liking the start from MarineLorD. Let's get a Vil count. B is on 25 villagers, and MarineLorD is on, okay, also 25. But B did use the stone at least once to double produce the Vil, so.
Yep. He's coming back to that gold at the back of MarineLorD's base again with the con, but there is an outpost there for MarineLorD, so he's going to be able to deal with that. Still, it's going to be annoying because B can sit right out of range of that outpost and force MarineLorD into some extra idle time. However, MarineLorD bringing back 7 deer carcasses at the moment. He won't have to go for that pasture anytime soon. He's going to have these carcasses available. And he should have an advantage there over B, who had to invest already into a 3rd pasture.
Yeah, and I would like to see MarineLorD. He could upgrade his outpost on the gold mine to arrow slits.
Yep.
And that does give the outpost 2 more range. So, yeah, it could just kind of deal with that annoying count there a bit.
They buffed that, did they not?
It was kind of like a bug. So I think some people were a little bit confused. When the game launched, towers had 6 range. And then you would research arrow slits. It would put them to 8 range. However, there was a bug where the garrison arrows were not going to 8 range. They were staying at 6 range. So they actually kind of, but the arrow slit arrow would be 8 range.
So it's like the scene from Office Space. We fixed the glitch.
yeah, there's, you know, quite a few little bugs like that. So now it's just that, yeah, you get the tech, and now your garrison arrows and your arrow slit arrow all go up to 8 range.
All right. MarineLorD is pushing all of this away with just scouts. He hasn't really, ever since he invested into professional scouts, he hasn't really had to make any military, hasn't had to really invest any more food or gold into anything. So his economy is just booming up at the moment, and he's dropping off even more carcasses. He's going to have food for days under his town center.
Yeah, that is a lot of hunts. And we're seeing both players now go up to Castle Age, which I actually really like. I think Mongols. A lot of players are really aggressive with Mongols. I mean, they can be really good in H2, but their FC is also very good also. Like the Step Redoubt is a very good landmark where it can just get your gold gen, kind of exploding,
Yep.
and then you can double produce like really strong H3 units. So yeah, Mongols have a lot of stuff going for them in H3.
The Step Redoubt seems so strong to me. Like you don't only get gold faster, but you get more of it over the long term. It seems like such a ridiculous building.
Yeah, and then when you finish your first gold mine, you just pack it up and move on to the second
Exactly. The fact you can move it makes it even worse. And we could see B going for that Step Redoubt on the gold. MarineLorD building it a little bit closer to his base, and he's gonna move it over. Presumably, anyway, he's gonna move it over towards the gold, and also going for Lancers right away.
Yeah, Lancer is definitely a very strong unit. A lot of rating potential, and let's take like a 3DB. Looks like, yeah, he's also going to be going for Lancers himself. And already getting harassed a little bit on his gold mine, so I would expect him to probably upgrade this tower. The Spring Golden placement is very, very strong.
He also lost his con not too long ago, so he's waiting for another one. MarineLorD has not lost his yet, and will just continue to be so annoying with this thing. He's already killed 2 villagers that were exposed, and he can sit out of range of that outpost for the time being and keep weakening these. The more you weaken them, the more likely they are to die when you come back later to pick them off.
Yeah, having a lot of really low HP bills, very nice targets for your Lancers later on. Here we go, a little bit of an engagement.
And B loses that one. B, I mean, he's kept up so far with MarineLorD, but to be fair, there hasn't been much pressure coming from the Frenchman. So this game, it looks like MarineLorD is just playing so much cleaner.
Yeah, and he's still picking up deer carcasses, so he's gonna have so much hunt on top of his town center for so long in this game. Here we go, MarineLorD getting some of his Lancers onto 3DB's wood line and picking up a few more villagers here too.
Yep, just diving in there while 3DB was busy at the back. Lots of villagers taking those sheep in front of the TC. Only one villager on the wood line currently for B, and B is trying to respond here with the Lancers, but he's already lost numbers early, and MarineLorD has the superior force.
Yeah, MarineLorD is up 4 villagers, and really has the control in this game, so definitely looking quite good for MarineLorD at the moment.
And he can keep coming back to that gold, and he's gonna hold B's army at home because there's only one outpost there for B. So if he ever leaves that with his military, MarineLorD can just kind of ignore that outpost and go after the villagers like he's doing right now. 3 villagers go down. His con also dies, which means he can't really escape as fast as he might like to. But that's a great raid for MarineLorD, and his economy at home, like we mentioned it before, so many deer carcasses there. It's been safe the entire game, basically. All the pressure is coming down on Red, and he's got to be feeling really good about the situation.
Yeah, definitely. And 3DB, he did upgrade his tower to arrow slits on Goldmine, which I find interesting. I think the Springald upgrade would have been a lot stronger. But here we go, we do have a bit of an engagement. 3DB using the maybe attack speed arrow, and see which arrow that was from the con there.
Oh, B trying to run, and his Lancer got a little stuck there. He's going to pull back the 2 weak ones, 3 weak ones there, and his con is going to be attacked. Looks like he tried to go for a counter raid as well, but MarineLorD pushed that away. MarineLorD coming in with another force to the north. Oh, it just looks like he's about to overrun B's economy completely.
Yeah, it's interesting that neither of these players went for barracks, really, because yeah, the Lancers are very strong, of course, but you could just, like double produce Spearmen, and they would deal with the Lancers very cost efficiently. But then you lose the mobility, so you're more like the defensive player. So,
and B can't save his villagers. He can't engage against this. All he can do is hide in the outpost for the time being. try and build up enough military and try and win some fights somewhere. But MarineLorD once again in on the wood line while he's distracting B at the back. He's going to take the fight against the military, and he's going to take out villagers at the same time. And it seems like there's no win condition for B from this point forward. MarineLorD can simply flood and beat him completely.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the different openings from these players. 3DB going for the pastures, MarineLorD going for the professional scouts, but perhaps the biggest thing was that 3DB did lose a couple villagers early to the con, so the early con harassment and plus with scouts, it can be brutal at times.
Yep. Well, he invested the double production into villagers, and MarineLorD put it into scouts, right? So probably an earlier payoff for B that was canceled out by the villager kills, and MarineLorD had the more stable economy when he's heading into the second age.
Yeah, and MarineLorD just in control at this moment. 33 villagers for B and 50 villagers for MarineLorD.
Every time B pulls away to try and save his military, MarineLorD is back on the villagers on that gold, and even the step readout can't help him against this. I mean, 50% extra gold is nice, but you got to actually be gathering the gold, which he's not doing right now. Credit to B for staying in here, but with 5 more Lancers coming into the wood line, it feels like the first game is for MarineLorD.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll be interesting to see if we have some more Mongol mirrors throughout the rest of the tournament, and to see if this like semi-FC is the meta, or if players will try to be aggressive in H2.
It could have been a read, too, for MarineLorD. After he killed those villagers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to play this slow. I'm going to get professional scouts. But I'll make 9 scouts of my own just to keep myself a little bit safe and know if something's coming and make my way into the next stage. And wow, that was a very convincing win from MarineLorD. It didn't really look, after the second age came in, it didn't really look like B ever stood a chance.
Yeah, and I feel like these Mongol mirrors, they can often play out kind of strangely like this because, there's just so much harassment potential, and there's kind of a lot of like RNG at the beginning because depending on like where you're placing your town center, like is it going to spawn next to, will you have a gold mine spawning next to your forest? How far will the Uvu be? How far will your gold mine be? So, and then the Khan's just really good at killing villagers plus the scouts. So things can snowball very, very quickly in these Mongol mirrors.